This material is part of our course Microeconomics. You can find more at professorpro.net. The current video belongs to Unit 1, Demand and Supply, and covers the class, the demand curve. The objective of this class is to address and answer the following questions. What is quantity demanded? What is the demand curve? And when the price of a product changes, is there a shift in its demand? Let's start with the basics. Quantity demanded is the amount of a product an individual would like to acquire at a certain price. Let's take orange juice as an example and assume that the price is $2 per unit. At this price, I may want to buy 6 units of it per week. Quantity demanded depends on the satisfaction I receive from a product, as well as on my financial capacity to buy it. Ceteris paribus, if the price increases to $3 per unit, for example, I will likely want to buy less orange juice than before. I might do this because it is now too expensive for me to continue buying 6 units per week, or simply because I don't like orange juice enough to buy 6 units at $3 each. Instead, I might prefer drinking more lemonade, which is now relatively cheaper compared to this product. I might now want to buy 3 units of orange juice at that higher price. This lesser amount would still be within my budget and would also satisfy my desire for orange juice. Whatever the reason, this change in my desired consumption after the price of a product changes is what constitutes the demand curve. Take a look at this. The demand curve shows the relationship between the price of a product and the desired consumption or quantity demanded of that product. As the price of a product increases, the quantity demanded of that product tends to decrease, whereas as the price of a product decreases, the quantity demanded of that product tends to increase. We call this link between price and quantity demanded a negative correlation. This correlation is typically seen with the demand curve. The correlation between price and quantity demanded by one individual is also applicable to the total demand of a market. For example, as the price of orange juice decreases, consumers will demand a greater quantity of it. Note that not every single consumer will necessarily increase the quantity they demand. For those that do, they will likely not increase their quantity demanded by the same amounts. However, the total quantity demanded by all consumers together tends to increase when the price of a product decreases. Now, let's see how these concepts can be represented in graphs. Before we draw the demand curve, it's important to understand what is not changing. In our analysis, we assume that the following variables are constant: the general satisfaction of consuming the product, income of consumers, the price and preferences for related products, and expectations related to this product, amongst other things. Having removed external factors from our analysis, we can now form the demand schedule, which is a table of the different quantities demanded of that product at different prices. Remember that when the price of orange juice was $2, I wanted to buy 6 units of it. When the price increased to $3, I wanted to buy 3 units instead. For simplicity, let's assume that the correlation between price and quantity demanded is linear. In this case, it means that a $1 change in price leads to a change in quantity demanded of 3 units. The following pairs of data will then show my desired consumption at every price. We can now plot these data on a Cartesian graph with quantity demanded on the x-axis and price on the y-axis, which is typically how we draw these graphs. Putting our points on the graph and linking them gives us the demand curve. Note that each point on the demand curve is a quantity demanded at a given price. The demand curve is made of all these points together, showing different quantities at different prices. Changes in quantity demanded caused by changes in price lead to what we call a movement along the demand curve. This is not the same as a change in demand, which is when the whole demand curve shifts. Note that we are describing a consumer's desire to acquire a product. We are not necessarily describing their actual purchases. In the next unit, we'll see that consumers might desire to purchase a product but might not be able to do so. To conclude, let's review the questions that this class set out to answer. In this class, we saw that quantity demanded is the amount of a product individuals wish to purchase at a given price. The demand curve is the mathematical or graphical relationship between the price of a product and its quantity demanded. And finally, a change in the price of a product, ceteris paribus, will lead to a movement along the demand curve, not a shift of it. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, you can find the following example. Thank you.